Hello, and welcome to session 2 of 3 for a Gauntlet Thursday night series for Hearts of Wulin, which is a PBTA hack, Powered by the Apocalypse hack, attempting to emulate Chinese soap opera dramas like Laughing in the Wind and Handsome Siblings and Romance of Red Dust and a whole bunch of other ones. In the film category, think of a modern film would be Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. In an older film, think of The Sentimental Swordsman from Shaw Brothers. Incidentally, in February on Twitch, if you enjoy martial arts films, they're going to be running a like a 3-day marathon of Shaw Brothers films, like 44 classic Shaw Brothers martial arts films are going to be streaming on Twitch. And you can probably look that up, which is kind of neat because they have the rights to all the nicely remastered versions of those. We are part of the Gauntlet Hangouts. You can find out more about this online gaming community at gauntlet-rpg.com. We have a blog. We have these online communities. We have a zine. We also have podcasts, which are pretty awesome. So we've got a lot of good stuff. We are going to start out with some mechanical, structural stuff tonight, figuring out where our characters are at in terms of their entanglements and their bonds and so on. Get that settled out, check in on all of those. And at some point, I'll figure out how to summarize last session. So one of the things is everybody gets to pick 2 bonds. You'll pick one bond with another one of the PCs, the one that you think you're most connected to, positively or negatively. And you'll write that in under fellow PC, and you'll put a 1 beside that under the bonds on your character sheet. Then the other thing is you'll figure out which faction you think you're part of or in opposition to or have the most contact with. And faction can mean a group, an organization. It can mean a literal faction. We know, for example, that Yin's father has some role within the Wulin world, some troubles that he's dealing with. We know that Zemin has some connections to some shady types there, whether that's just an individual or there's a larger group behind it. We'll figure out about that. But those bonds, you can spend them at any point. You can spend them after a roll, essentially to give yourself a +1 on the roll. And when you burn a bond, to do that, you're not using it up. It's not like going away. You're not destroying the relationship. Instead, you're calling on the strength or the connection or the drive that bond gives you. So you can rebuild it later. The comfort and support action is one of the ways that you gain bonds with other characters. So that is out there on that. So I want to start with a quick summary if I can. I'm not going to try and summarize the relationship complexities because we'll get to that in a second. But I believe last time Master Nemo was traveling along. He encountered Zhen, who happens to be the student of someone that Nemo suspects of being a villain, but he has found himself with kind of an attachment to this Zhen, a friend, considered himself a friend. Though Zhen doesn't quite share that and suspects Master Nemo of some nefariousness. The 2 of them spoke for a while. When they heard some noise, Master Nemo canceled caution, but the young man somewhat ignored his advice, especially once they heard some shouts that indicated that there was something more serious going on. When they approached, they found a set of figures in masks who had a person on the ground who was clearly injured, had been hunted down by these people, and then a master figure in a kind of a black and red mask showed up. There was some conversation, and then Zhen essentially decided to interfere and took down the mooks, took down the henchmen, but fell to essentially the assault of this master. Didn't get into a fight, but was clearly he was outmatched. And after a conversation, this black masked figure actually killed the person on the ground, which sent Zhen off. Master Nemo, after the young man had taken off in panic, Master Nemo came to try and see what he could do with this situation now that maybe it was a little less escalated, but instead mostly drew the ire of the masked people who clearly knew who Master Nemo was. And Master Nemo was a little shaken from that. On the other side of the coin, we have Yin, who is the bearer of the graceful giant style, has an absurdly large blade. It's a Nodachi +1, or like a second Nodachi. So it's a massive blade, and he is returning to his hometown because he has heard that his father is retiring from the martial world, and despite the differences with his father, he some obligations to come back, both to say his piece and to maybe find out what is going on, why his father is retiring so early and leaving this void amongst these other groups that may be taking advantage of the situation. And he arrived, settled himself into a tavern to have a brief meal before heading in. Happened to be the same tavern that Zemin, who is ostensibly Yin's friend, they are know each other and have some respect for each other, supposedly, but in fact, Zemin has pledged to destroy Yin's family, and has been working behind the scenes to do that, and has been instrumental in pulling the strings to blackmail Yin's father to get him to retire from the martial world. And Yin has been in contact with other darker forces for a secondary plan should that fall through. Yin is not necessarily an evil person, but on this matter, on this pledge, he feels he has to follow through, despite the protestations of his sister Min, who is, in fact, the object of Yin's affections. In the situation, Zemin saw that there was a group of people that were about to ambush Yin. A fight broke out, and while Yin and Zemin were victorious, it was messy. It was brutal. And Zemin went out through the window at one point, I believe. Was it? Yeah. And your sister saw you out in the street. Min, rushed you in because you were injured. Yin, in the midst of all this carnage, had nothing to say to Min, and kind of awkwardly shut down and walked away, unable to say anything, or even acknowledge that the horrors that were on her face at that point. Did I miss anything key in those summaries? Master Nemo, are you happy with the entanglements as you have them there? Are you cool with how they stand right now?
Yeah, it works pretty well for me.
Okay. And one of the things would be is we'll see if Zach comes. If he doesn't, if at some point you want to modify that entanglement, at least for the session, you're certainly welcome to do that. Which of those do you want to highlight for the session? When you highlight an entanglement, you're saying this is the one I'd like to mostly focus in on, and you'll get more XP for it.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping to run into Yin today.
Okay, so let's definitely pull your paths across one another. Who do you want to have for your bond with your fellow PC?
So I would probably normally say Shen, I think. Yeah. because I was mostly interacting with them.
Sure, sure. I go ahead and put that down. And of course, there may be situations, especially if you run into Master Lay, since we know that they are coming to town as well. They may cross your paths at some point. And did we decide do you belong to a group or a faction, or are you independent? How do we decide that?
Well, I've been sort of playing it as independent, but if you think it's good for characters to have a faction that they're loyal to, I can definitely pick one and just say,
or one that you belonged to previously. At least one that maybe you were trained with, that you had some connection with, because didn't we establish that you had been part of some group that you trained with early on?
Yeah, I've been like sort of this boxing type. So sure, it could be some.
You're a former student of theirs.
Yeah, so I'll look at the names list and come up with a cool choice for that.
That seems good. Also, I have managed to change your name to YYY in my thing. I apologize. That's one of those errors. Zemin, are you happy with those entanglements? I know we didn't really have a chance to get Lushan or Red Lotus Ling on the table last time, but what do you think?
So I'm a little concerned that just having this romantic entanglement with two NPCs, neither of whom showed up last session, might be like a lot to try and get in, and maybe it would make more sense to kind of refocus that.
Sure.
So I was thinking maybe something like remove this Red Lotus Ling, and just have Zemin loves Lushan, who's like a childhood friend of Yin, since Yin is from this town, right? This is where he has his roots. And that could add some knife turning with these all this treachery.
I like that. Yeah, that seems good. So Lushan, you've known later in life, but she's spoken reverently and respectfully of Yin. Do you think that she is attracted to him, or do you believe that she's attracted to him? Are you uncertain about that?
Sure. Let's say I believe that she's attracted to him.
Okay, yeah, that probably bugged you every time she speaks of her big brother Yin, and you maybe driving you a little bit there. Okay, and which of these two would you like to highlight then?
I think I'm going to highlight my other one though.
Okay,
since that one seems to be immediately causing problems.
Absolutely.
This was a friend of yours, a childhood friend of yours.
No. So what I was just so your character is native to this town that we're all in, right? Because this is where your family is. So I was thinking, and maybe I actually don't want her to be attracted to Yin, but this is someone who's like a childhood friend of yours, someone who like your character will want to reconnect with when he comes into town.
Oh, okay.
And who will the connection between you two will put pressure on my nefarious revenging.
So you love Lushan, but two ways to do this. You could say, but she's a childhood friend of Yin, or you could say, but I believe that she is in love with Yin.
I think we should say that I'm going to say that she's a childhood friend of
okay,
not that she's in love with him, simply because I'm already villainous enough.
Okay, all right.
I don't need to make Zemin more villainous in what he's doing.
Fair enough.
I want to be more tortured instead.
I like that. And we'll highlight the Turbulent Stone one. And which PC do you want to have a bond with? A connection with? I mean, it could be one that you don't necessarily like.
So, I guess right now I don't feel very connected to Master Yin, so maybe the bond would be a good way to create that connection. Or should I just do the obvious thing and choose the character who I was on the screen with before?
I'm good either way. However you want to do that. What it says about how strong your connection, positively or negatively, it is to one of the other characters.
Hmm. Well, what would be the nature of a bond with Nemo, for instance?
So let's see what connection we can imagine that you might have. We know that Nemo is a traveling monk who possesses uh, a particularly dangerous style. So that's certainly a possibility.
I think I'm just gonna. Hopefully, we can get our characters in a scene together and develop their relationship that way. But
Okay.
For now, I guess let's take up on with Yin.
All right. And let's come to then Yin. So Yin, are you happy with your entanglements?
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
And which of those do you want to highlight?
The second, I love Min, but her brother Zemin has sworn revenge on my family.
Okay. And I see you took Zemin for the bonds with the fellow PC. And for faction, do you want to describe is your faction your family, or is it this graceful giant, tradition?
So I think it might be with something related to the great weapon tradition.
Okay.
I think there are other people out there in the world in a similar situation who
Other
have
people with
to
absurdly large weapons.
Well, not necessarily. Well, if you want them to be absurdly large weapons, I'll leave that to your interpretation.
Yeah, okay.
But weapons that people would kill for.
Okay.
And all of us have an understanding with each other and like a mutual respect, and like even if it comes to it, alliance with one another to keep the weapons out of ruffians' hands.
So like the 8 legendary weapons, something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
They might all be gigantic. I don't know. That's up to you.
No. I think the fact that your weapon is gigantic is unique to it, and certainly sets it apart. Yeah, I think that's a great idea for a faction there. Let me roll back here real quick. Zemin, what do you want to describe for your faction? Is it Yin's family, because that's a faction that you're trying to destroy? Or is it about the school of your master Turbulent Stone?
Well, the school by Master Turbulent Stone, I think it's just me and him at this point. So it doesn't really seem like a faction.
Certainly, he had to learn from somebody, though.
That's true. And so I think that he was part of a criminal underworld faction of which he's kind of exiled. But I could be part of that. I could be part of that broader faction.
What would you like?
Sure. Let's say that is my sort of thief persona. I'm part of this this nefarious faction.
Probably that person that we saw you speak with last time was a representative of that group. They let you work in the city, and now they're more than happy to put you a little bit more in their debt in carrying out this operation, which will benefit them hugely.
Really, they should be paying me.
Yes. So I'll let you figure out what you want to call them. Zach, I'm going to come to you. Sorry, I had sent it a couple of different ways, and then I saw your email there, so I apologize for
sorry,
that.
Yeah. I can find the link. Sorry, my bad. So
that's okay. So I want to come in here, and we're going to take a look at your entanglements. And I want to make sure that you're cool with those, that those are both the things you want to do, or do you want to modify either of those in some way?
My entanglements?
Yep.
I think I am I'm good with it, except for I've been thinking about this since last week. Especially my first one. I love Zemin, but my teacher Master Lei killed someone dear to them. Since Zhen is a really young character, I feel like, we had to have a romantic entanglement with someone.
But it didn't necessarily have to be a PC.
Right, exactly. So is it possible for me to maybe change the love more into like I don't know, like an admiration, you know? Or
Well,
does it have to be explicitly romantic about that?
At least one of your entanglements needs to be romantic in some way.
Okay.
So we could modify the direction of that. We could have you focus on an NPC that gets complicated. I don't know what you would, how you would want to do that.
Okay. Well, let me think
Or is it,
about it.
or is it? I mean, I could see it as a crush. You know.
Right. Yeah. And okay, so there's another thing. Is it okay if like it's not reciprocated by Zemin?
Oh,
Especially if
absolutely.
okay.
No,
Good,
it
good,
is
good,
in
good.
fact much better if Zemin isn't even aware that you have a massive crush on him.
Right. So that's just kind of like where I'm coming from. I don't feel comfortable playing, a character that's gonna be like, I don't know. So yeah,
But an awkward crush you can handle.
an awkward crush. Yep,
Okay, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And certainly we saw you interact with Master Nemo last time, and Master Nemo did not help you. So are you happy with that particular entanglement there?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's going to be pretty interesting.
Which of these two do you want to highlight?
Oh, for this one,
yeah,
I think I'm definitely going to push on my entanglement with Master Nemo and see what we have more in there. So
okay. And you should pick under bonds. You should pick one of the PCs that you feel connected to, and write their name under a bond and put a 1 by that.
Okay.
And then, what is the name of the order that Master Lee belongs to that you have trained in?
Let's call it the Order of the Callous Feet.
Okay. And go ahead and put that under faction. I'm going to go ahead and get started with Master Nemo. Master Nemo, after that encounter, after that incident, and you go and you look and you can't find Zhen, what's your emotional state at that point?
I think I'm feeling a little devastated. Basically, how I was hoping this would work out, the total opposite happened. So at this point, I might just go and like collect this body and like try to bring it back into town.
Certainly wrap it and go to carry it. Perhaps we had that person who had a cart that was going to town. Perhaps arrange for them to bear it on that, and they will gladly do that. They believe that you're with the person who helped fix their cart, so they have no question about that.
Right.
And you are on the outskirts of the city, and you will have that sort of sense of a storm cloud approaching, that sense of a kind of a brooding unhappiness coming. And as you kind of look around, you will look and you will see your, we said friend, but at least acquaintance, Yin, who you have great affection for, who regards you with respect. And it looks like Yin is stone-faced but troubled.
Well, if that isn't all just too perfect.
Would you approach him or would you avoid him at this point?
Well, I kind of have this dead body to deal with. But seeing him and seeing these clouds, it's it's all very much a bad omen. And I think I'm definitely feeling cursed at this time.
So there's a long pause. Do you hail or not?
I think I sort of like grasp my wine bottle and sort of like rub my hand across it, and I think about the last time I tried to greet some people, not going well. So I'm going to kind of like just turn my face away and cover my eyes.
Yin, of course, you're feeling somewhat distraught, stoic after that incident with Min, somewhat lost. But you will see Master Nemo, who you know and respect, a person who is a peer that maybe you could speak with. But as you approach, Nemo turns his face away and hides his face away from you.
Not so fast. What
are you thinking here, David?
I call out to you, like, as you like are trying to like tiptoe away or whatever, and I'm like, Master Nemo, is one of your 101 demons have the better of you? That you do not greet a fellow warrior?
Oh, Yin, is that you? I think I pull out a pair of like fake spectacles and like rub like the corner of my like garment on them and like put my gun. Oh my goodness, it is you! I hardly recognized you. It's been so long.
And like I look left and look right, and I'm like a half foot, like a foot and a half shorter than everyone around me, and also have a giant sword. Like, What brings you to this town?
Troubling news, I'm afraid. And I sort of like pull over this flap on the cart, and you can kind of clearly see like a body in a shroud.
It seems like this is a bad day for all honest people.
Well,
what has happened?
I find it hard to believe that a man with such a lovely lady on his arm, such as yourself, could be having a bad day, even with these storm clouds. They say men's smile can brighten the darkest day, I've been told.
Like, men? Like, men's nowhere around.
Well, but you're still together, right?
Were we ever together? I've pursued her, but it seems inappropriate given her family's obligations.
Yin, it sounds like we have much to catch up on, and while I do not consider this errand to be one that is necessarily prone for conversation, if you'd like to ride with me to the magistrates, then perhaps we could catch up a bit.
It's probably better that I do. I don't know how else you would explain this.
And we will cut from you two taking this body essentially to the local constabulary to explain the circumstances of this. Zemin, you have, assigned people, since you are part owner of this establishment, as we set last time, set people to cleaning up the mess here, clearing the bodies away. Your sister is still somewhat upset, and she says, I will wait outside.
Very well.
And she goes to step out as you're doing that. Jen, you fled from that clearing after that situation, after that confrontation, perhaps a little red-faced. You faced down those mooks, but then this other figure was, a little more terrifying, and Master Nemo was no assistance in that. But you have reached town and perhaps finally kind of catching your breath here, and you will hear someone call out your name, a woman call your name out.
I stopped walking. I imagine Jen was just kind of just like looking at the ground and hearing that sound, just like he perks up his head and look around to see where that voice is coming from.
And you will see this young woman coming through the crowd. You will recognize her as Min, Zamin's sister, who you've met before. And she says, Jen, are you just arrived in town?
I look at her and kind of just look up in the sky and down on the ground and say to her, without looking at her eyes, and say, yeah, my feet brought me to town, and I guess I'm here now.
Well, it is most auspicious. My brother Zamin is nearby, and he has a tavern that is in some disrepair right now, but come. And she'll come and take you by the elbow and kind of move you along through the crowd up to this tavern where you see it has this great glass window frame and glass out in the street, and there are servants, sweeping that up here.
I pick out a chair and table and just kind of put my staff on a table and put my head down and kind of just like wallow.
Zamin, you're kind of upstairs finishing up some things, and you look down and you will see your sister bring in young Jen, who you've met before.
How well do I know young Jen?
It's a good question. What do you think, Jen? How long have you known?
Oh.
How did you meet?
I think from the last time that my order came through town to just kind of get supplies, I feel like I noticed one of your actions, kind of like stealing stuff from like breaking out of like a house or something. I don't know how you do your thievery, but I kind of caught a glimpse of you.
Now keep in mind he is in his secret identity when he is a thief.
Oh, okay. Maybe there's something that I kind of like. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, so in my normal identity, I'm this kind of like handsome, wealthy playboy, wuxia socialite. Maybe you attended one of my parties, or maybe we even fought together against bandits on the road or something. Who knows?
Do you have any relation? Do you know?
Well, so you might have been on the lookout for me because you know that Matt. Sorry. Am I frozen or are you frozen?
No, I get you now.
So the thing is that you might have been on the lookout for me because you know, although I don't, that your master killed my parents. So you might have been curious about me.
Yeah. So maybe like yeah, when our order kind of like came through town, pointed out that to look at like kind of
I'm
slice.
Zach, I may have to have you drop and come back in because you're cutting out a little bit here. Do you mind?
Is it good now?
Let's see. Go on.
Yeah. So maybe when Master Lay when we came to town and we kind of probably maybe we've even like gotten food from your tavern before and that's how I know you.
So a handsome man that you noticed that you kind of admired when you came through town before. I assume that Zemin makes a habit of meeting and greeting with everyone, right? And perhaps afterwards, Master Lay said you should stay away from him. His parents are troublemakers, and I was forced to kill them.
Right. Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And so you see Zemin at the top of the stairs. He's like looking sexy. He's shirtless, and then he has like bandages wrapped around with his lower torso, and then he has kind of like his like sort of like flowing pattern robes open, and his hair is like kind of like wild. He sort of looks down at you with his impish, his devilish eyes, and comes down the stairs to greet you.
Jen heard the noise of Zemin walking and peeked out of his arms, and all of a sudden stumbles, dropped the staff on the ground, and kind of straightened up, standing up and looking. We lock eyes probably for a little bit, but I can't see you for too long, and then just kind of look on the ground, stare on the ground.
So Zemin will clasp your hand, or he pull you in for a manly embrace, and then says, I'm sorry this inn is such a mess. You grace us with your presence. I assume you're here for the festival?
Indeed I am. Sorry to have found me in this situation. I've just been through a lot this past few hours. And thank you for having me in. Kind of pause a little bit. And he says, have you ever experienced witnessing someone die before you? There's a lot of blood.
I am afraid that I have been forced to have that experience. But what transpired? Was someone slain?
Right in front of me, blade to the head.
That's horrible.
Quick. I've never seen anything like that before. Master Lay have always kept me from witnessing anything quite gruesome.
It is the nature of a warrior's life that this must happen eventually, but it always leaves its mark. I'm glad that you were safe. What happened?
There's a group of them, and he was down on the ground, beaten. I try to help him, and their master came by, and I did my best. Master Lay told me to see and notice and wait and observe, but I just couldn't do it. I felt like I had to help him, and right then and there, that person just slain in front of me.
Who was this? The roads here should be safe.
I really don't know. His face was masked, and what I know is that he's a really skilled fighter.
Jen, I am beginning to worry that something is amiss here, this beautiful city. I have a proposition for you. As you can see, I too was forced to fight today and did not get the better of my opponent. He kind of like gestures to the bloody spot in his bandages. I find myself in need of a bodyguard. Would you be willing to undertake this task for the duration of the festival? You will, of course, be compensated.
Does that mean that I have to be around you all the time? Make sure you're safe?
Well, it would help.
24/7.
It's the only way to be truly sure. Out of character, I don't want to like restrict your character's movements, but in character, I'm going to, or I guess also out of character, I'm going to continue to taunt your character about this.
Okay.
Oh yes, you would need to watch over me while I'm sleeping. But don't worry, I am a man of great constitution, and we will be at the festivals late at night. We will be the last to leave. You won't miss anything.
Well, there's one thing that Master Lake told me is to observe and watch and notice. And if you allow me to do so, and let me see how the festival is going to be, and I wish you'd be able to give me that opportunity, then I would love to keep you safe.
I'm honored, and of course I know that sometimes to be an adept bodyguard is not simply about standing around and watching, but it's about going out into the crowds and finding the enemy before he can strike and dealing with him. I know that as a student of the renowned Master Lee, and now, although I know this is dramatic, now you've been blooded. You're ready, and I place my trust in you.
Well, you have my word, Zenin. I'll keep you safe.
And Zen, I assume you would describe to him the white masked figures and then the black and red masked figure. Kind of gave him a description of that. Okay.
And do I know who those people are?
I think that'd be a study move.
All right. Do you have a roll for your party? Okay.
Yeah, I will grab that for you. It is Utterly Endless Peacock.
Superb.
What would you like to roll that study with? What do you think represents your sort of knowledge of the streets and so on?
Metal.
Okay. So let's have you roll.
That would be a 9.
That would be a 9. So you get one hold from the study where you can ask a question, learn a person scale, or reveal a detail.
Let's ask a question. Who is that masked man?
You have only heard of him as essentially the number one killer, and he is a member of the Black Tiger Society.
Well, he's probably not here for me, but
probably not. But you would have thought with someone like that maybe somebody might have told you that he was going to be in the area. That seems a little. I mean, they didn't inform you that such an auspicious member of that society would be present. Does that seem like a fair answer?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wheels within wheels.
I'm going to cut to the magistrate's office we will see there's a little bit of the kind of the womp womp comedic music as we come in, and we will see Magistrate Gong, who has a beautifully done beard and has the sort of regal magistrate's outfit on, and his hair is just so, and he's tapping his fan, and he's like, and you found the body exactly how, monk?
Well, it was just like this, sir.
And you did not kill this person?
Sorry, I cut out for a second. Can you repeat that?
And you did not kill this person?
Well, what do you take me for?
I don't know what I take you for, monk. Pokes you in the chest with the fan.
Would a murderer bring a body to the constabulary?
Who can tell the mind of a murderer? Who can tell? Who can tell with these things these days? Who would know? No one, I tell you.
You know me. I know it's been a while.
Master Yin. Yes. I'm sorry to hold you here for so long. I apologize.
I vouch for this man. He is honorable.
Well, if that is the case, I merely ask because this murder victim is no commoner. This is Razor Eyes Gong Song, one of the tax collectors who serves the city and is a friend of your father's.
And yes, it's a dark day, but this man did not kill him.
Well, then I will. Will you tell your father that I will investigate to the limit of my abilities? I will do that, and I will ensure that I will find who did this. And who did you say did this?
Masked bandits.
Masked bandits. It's always masked bandits. That makes it more difficult. We have a masked thief that runs about the city. Maybe it's him.
Tell me more.
I'm sure it's him. Must be. There must be a connection. Why else would they be wearing masks?
Well, these masks were colorful and ornate.
Well, that's a little bit different, but perhaps he's changing up his MO so that no one mistakes him. I understand.
Was that thief ever responsible for a murder?
Not yet. But who can judge the mind of a thief these days? Who knows? Who knows? Well, Master Yin, I'm sorry to have held you up here. I will ensure that Master Gong Song is taken to his family, and all the proper rites are carried out. And I will not trouble you any further here. And you are here for your father's retirement ceremony?
Yes, of course.
It is to be a striking festival. Everyone is coming. Anyone will be there.
Is that so? I didn't realize it was such an occasion to draw everyone.
Everyone wishes to pay honor to your father before he retires and removes himself from this the matters of the temporal world. They wish to give their greetings, and I assume greetings to you. I assume you will be taking up as his heir.
That's something that I have to discuss with him.
Excellent. Well, I look forward to seeing you again, and maybe I will be able to make it to this festivities.
That would be our pleasure and delight. Thank you for
the invitation. Thank you. And he bows his head there, and he seems very pleased because at least he's managed to work in a little bit of getting into the social scene there. He will take care of the body, and leave you and Master Nemo to your devices. Master Nemo, have you told Yin what's brought you here?
Well, I think we've managed to catch up to the point of, his father's retirement. And I would probably mention there are a great many people here who are going to see your father, and have come to celebrate with him. There's one face in particular that I was hoping to see.
Oh? Who are you looking for?
And I think I sort of linger with eye contact for just a moment. And I say, well, Master Lei, are you familiar with her?
Yes, I do know. I do know this master.
Yes, I was hoping to reconnect with her.
I did not know that you knew her.
I don't know her per se, and in fact, I'd like to know her on a deeper level.
You seek to romance her.
Oh, no. No. Far, far from that. Yin, you are a person who I hold in high esteem. You know this. And so, this theory of mine, it should not go beyond this discussion. But I fear that Master Lei may be the villainous Crystal Willow.
Should we scene transition there, or just let us talk more?
I think I'm going to cut there, and I'm gonna when I come back, I'm gonna ask you what you know about Crystal Willow, and we'll see your response to that. With your new bodyguard, your sister Min will say, "Well, I will go to see about the shop and make sure everything is ready, and perhaps I'll see if Master Yin is recovered."
Yes, please invite him to join us for dinner this evening. We should give him a better taste of our hospitality.
And she frowns in that way if she's not sure, if that's supposed to be honest or threatening or what. She says, "All right, we'll see to him." And she will leave. And you have Zhen there. You have your plans to carry out. What do you want to do, Zemin?
Well, unfortunately, the obvious things for me to do require me to send Zhen elsewhere. So I think that's the first thing that I'm going to do, so I can go back to being villainous. Curses. I think I am going to. Are there any other threats that I've heard are in town? Oh no! So I'll send you to track. Okay, so what happened to that guy from the previous session? What was standing? Was he killed? Did he escape?
The one who was being attacked?
Yes, or no, the one who attacked us in the tavern.
I think he got killed, I believe, there. In fact,
Yes.
though it wasn't intended to, but he was cut down.
All right, here, I will tell Zhen that I believe that Master Man is known as the #1 killer of the Black Tiger Society. Now,
Black Tiger.
Yes. Do you know the Black Tiger Society?
I I've never heard a lot of societies outside of my own order. So,
well, you should count yourself lucky. Criminals, thieves, some ruthless killers too.
And they want
wouldn't
you
send
dead?
him-
Go ahead.
I don't know what this man wants, but wherever he goes, chaos follows in his wake. Now, we still have time before the ceremonies start. I want you to find out what this man is up to, why he is here. I'm sure it won't stop with whoever he kills in front of you on the road.
Are you sure I'm suited for this mission, Zemin?
Is something wrong?
I've just never been by myself before. I've always had people to guide me through, and I'm excited to do this, but sometimes when you don't know enough, you don't have a lot of confidence in yourself.
Last time I saw you, you were a boy, but today I can tell that in those the years intervening, you've become a man. Your master, Master Lei, she is a brilliant teacher, but she's overprotective. She's like a mother to her students, but she won't tell you when it's time for you to go free. You to become a warrior in your own right and begin building great deeds of your own name.
And
I am a man of the world, and I will tell you that time is now.
I think we're actually triggering a move here, because Zhen has the proud youth, which is when you seek guidance of an elder.
Oh, yeah.
You're talking to someone who is an elder. You've told them a problem, and you can essentially ask Zemin a question about what you should do, and they'll tell you what they think you should do. And if you do it, you get +1 ongoing, Zhen. If you don't do it, you get to mark XP. So what answer do you want from Zemin?
I want him to let me know that, or like where should I start, or like any skill I need to work on to be able to find this mask killer.
Oh, that's easy. You need to learn to blend in with the criminal element.
Well, what does that actually entail, Zemin?
It entails holding your liquor, winning at cards, but not too much, speaking coarsely, being ready for a fight, not an honorable fight between great warriors, but simply the casual fights for which the men of this type establish dominance. This too will be an important part of your education. I will send a man. I will send a man to accompany one of my servants, a coarse man, but he will be there to assist you. But you must lead the way. You are a warrior.
What do you think, Zhen? Is that something you can do?
You see Zhen kind of just like in his head, just like going through a lot of stuff. It's like, this is not what Master Lei prepared me for. But then he looks at Zemin's eyes and just like sparkling at him, and there's this sense of longing for something that Master Lei hasn't be able to give him. So this sense of like kind of like I don't know, like letting me do whatever I want. It was like that, allowance to be free. And then I look at him and I say, very well. Walking in the road to crime has been nothing that I've ever considered, but if you believe this is the best way for me to learn, then I will gladly follow your order.
I put my arm around you, and who knows, you may even have some fun along the way.
Very well.
So, Jen, you have a +1 ongoing while you are slumming it, while you are living the life of debauchery that Zemin is dragging you down into. Let me cut back to the revelation, or at least the suspicion, that Master Nemo has stated openly to Yin about his friend, Master Lei, someone who you have regard for, but now Nemo is saying that she is in fact a villainess. What do you know about Crystal Willow, Yin?
Crystal Willow is that's the alias like of the evil person, right? Like that's the false name.
Yes.
Okay. So I'd have heard of them by reputation. I heard that she slew an entire village and nobody knows the reason.
And do you think that this horrible person could be your peer, your friend who you swore an oath to, Master Lei?
It must not be so. Certainly she would have the skill, but she is trained and disciplined in her art. She would not do such a thing.
I actually think we're kind of hitting on the edge of an entanglement here, hitting on the edge of an inner conflict as your friend Nemo is putting this to you. So what do you want to roll with for that?
So I still have things that are checked off, right? Those stay?
Those stay until you do a scene where you are recovering from that, or someone does a comfort and support move to help you.
Okay.
But you can roll anything else.
Right. Let's try with wood.
Okay.
Six.
So that's a 6. So the good news is, A, because of interconflict, you get to mark an XP. And B, because you failed an interconflict roll, you get to mark another XP.
Cool. That bumps me up to 8. So
okay. And you don't believe Master Nemo at all. In fact, you're this kind of throws you off. You're going to mark your wood as well. Put a check by that. Even as that is sort of trying to get this across to Yin, the gravity of the situation here, Nemo, you see some swordsmen approach. They are marked in the livery of Yin's household, and they step in and they say, "Master Yin, you must come with us." And they go to move to take Master Yin away before you can kind of complete your discussion with him, Nemo. Clearly, these are people from his family.
Is something wrong? Can I help?
And they will say, Master Yin has delayed long enough. He must speak with his father.
Oh,
We'll discuss this more later, but I must go. You really must reconsider, but later.
yes,
Do you let them go,
later.
Nemo? Or are you going to try and step in the way?
It is not my place to interrupt his discussion with his family.
That is fair enough. So with his father dragging voluntarily Yin away, and Yin now knowing but not believing what you said about Crystal Willow, and the others meeting and gathering for their celebrations, we will take our break here, and we'll come back about 7 minutes, and we will continue on. All right. So tell me, Zemin, what does the montage look like of you taking Jean on this whirlwind set of festivities? And what's your ultimate goal here?
Okay, so the montage, I suppose, we'll have to like get disguised, of course, and then we'll go, we'll go drinking and gambling, and to the fighting pits, and we'll be subtly asking people questions, and frequently Zemin will kind of like shove Jean forward to deal with people or to interact with them or send them over to go and talk to people as we try and track down number one killer. And Zemin really has 3 goals here.
Okay.
So one goal is in fact to find number one killer and figure out what he's up to, and for Jen to accomplish that. 2 is to corrupt Jen, and to give him a taste of the kind of like wild freedom of Zemin's path. And 3rd is to ultimately create a situation where Jen can go and be on his own for a bit doing this, and Zemin can slip off to like rob someone wealthy who's arrived here with just like something too tantalizing to resist.
That seems perfect, Jen. Now, you did take Zemin's advice, so you have a +1 on going to party. What is it you want to do? Are you doing? Are you investigating? Does that seem like what's happening here?
I think so. I think what he's trying to do is he's going to be drinking along people who he thinks are criminals, and maybe trying to even like cheat in a game of mahjong or 2. Who knows? There's like hidden tiles somewhere on his body that Zemin kind of just like gave him and told, like gave a brief rundown how to cheat and stuff like that. So maybe that's where you find Jen, while also like trying to like ask people about it.
So that seems perfect. So this is a study move, and we know what's kind of at risk here for failure on that. What do you want to roll with?
Let's see here. I think I will roll with water.
Okay. Then let's have you roll with water.
Okay. Eight.
That looks like an 8. So you've got 1 hold. Do you want to ask a question? Do you want to make a declaration? Or do you want to find out someone's scale?
I think I would like to I would like to ask about where where I would most likely bump into this number one killer.
They will say, number one killer is a deadly operative of the Black Tiger Society, but he keeps himself alone. There is a old, legendarily haunted temple outside the city, and it is rumored that the more dangerous of the Black Tiger Society members sometimes stay there. If number one killer is here, then that may be the place he is at the Fallen Butterfly Temple.
Fallen Butterfly Temple. I took a shot of, I guess, the liquor, slam it on a table, and grab my staff and walk out and go to.
Well, let me ask then, Zemin. Zemin, your protege is doing you proud. I mean, he takes to this like a fish to water. He clearly wants to impress you, and has the cheating tiles from Mahjong, takes the drinks, and carouses with the best of them, and gets info for you, and looks like he is set to head off and take on number one killer.
Well, this is precocious. So I will let him go. I certainly can't go along with him as a. It doesn't make sense for to if you have a bodyguard, you then go to visit the person who's trying to kill you. That's right. The bodyguard's job. But at the same time, I'm kind of struck with guilt. I don't want this young man to be killed by number one killer if he's really about to walk into the lion's den. So I will, as planned, excuse myself and go and change into my Night Heron costume. But instead of going on the raid, I will go and shadow young Zhen, so I can be sure that he won't get me into any lethal trouble.
That seems perfect. So I think you want to follow Zhen to the location without Zhen or anyone else seeing you?
I think that's right.
Okay. Then I think that's an overcome action.
All right.
What would you like to roll for this stealthy activity?
I think I will roll water. By the way, we didn't get to uncheck the things that we checked last session, did we?
That is correct. You need to take a scene to clear those, or you need to have someone comfort and support.
I see. Well, let's find out. That would be a 6.
That would be a 6. So the good news is that Zhen doesn't see you.
And then I mark an XP.
I'm gonna no, because you only mark XP for fails on the inner conflict in this game. Okay. But we will come back to that particular fail in just a moment. I don't know if I've already shown you this or not, but I will just get out my hard moves shelf, and I'm going to put that on that shelf right there and set that off to the side. Okay.
Wait.
What?
You have a shelf?
I have a shelf for hard moves. Yes.
Look, this guy runs a lot of games.
This was made for me by Patrick and Tyler.
That's awesome.
Yes. Because far too often Patrick will fail something, and I'll go, you know what, Patrick, I'm going to take that hard move, and I'm just going to put that over here on the shelf, and we're going to come back to that in just a minute. All right. So they made me a shelf. They are the best. They are the absolute best. So, Yin, they are taking you to see your father. Are you good with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
And you will be brought there, and your father is there. He still looks hale and hearty. He's certainly in the prime of his adult life, older than you, and he will look. And there is that look where maybe he's a little surprised about you having come here, and he will say, Yin, my son.
I'll bow respectfully. Father?
It has been some time since you have called on me, and you come here in this auspicious time.
Yes. So mechanically, to refresh these checked off things, I need to have a scene about it, right?
Yeah.
I want to make this scene kind of about me trying to do that. Does it need to be about a specific one, or is it for all of them, or?
So tell me, you have, yeah, which one do you think you want to recover, and how are we connecting that in with this?
I think I'm going to try and refresh Wood by being patient with whatever my father is trying to do, by opening my mind and trying to grow from the situation and being genuinely curious about his reasons, and not and actively suppressing any kind of like, you ought to do this instead advice, or how could you judgment.
Absolutely. So let's have you clear that, Wood, and you will let him do his full speech. And this seems to please him. And he says, when he kind of gets to the end, he says, and you have decided to continue this path of the hollowed arms rather than studying our family style.
I'll bow again and then return back up and say, you've taught me to be true to my purpose. And if ever I can complete the task that has been set before me, I will return and master our family's ways. But first I must do this.
There is another thing that you must do. And I will tell this to you now, and I will let you think on it. You have taken up this other path, but you are still a member of this family. And there are forces aligned to destroy us. I need you to help. Because we have the opportunity during this ceremony to deal with them once and for all.
Who?
You know one named Zemin?
I'm aware that he is honor bound to strike a blow against us.
It is more than that. He and his family seek the end of ours for trifling matters in the past. And so he and his sister and anyone who stands with them must be killed.
For the first time, it seems as though my great sword causes me to sag under its weight.
I will let you think on that, but I will expect an answer from you within the day.
Bow for a third time and see myself out.
Master Nemo, Yin goes to speak with his family. You're clearly regarded as a guest of Yin, so you're treated pretty well here. What do you want to do while you're here? You want to look around? You want to check things out? You want to do something? You want to leave?
Well, I think I think I need to roll some inner conflict.
Yeah. What is it that's bothering you here? Is it the affection that you feel for Yin and kind of getting pulled away, or is it something else?
Kind of both. My affection I have for Yin as well as Crystal Willow kind of weigh on my mind as well. I think I'm just sort of like sitting in this like guest room, like sipping tea and just like thinking.
Let's have you roll.
So if I'm struggling with 2 entanglements, does it make a difference?
Just one. We only worry about one at a time.
Okay. That is a 6, but because of my move, it's a 7.
Okay. So now the good news is you get to mark XP because you roll inner conflict.
Correct.
And now you have a choice. You can mark one of your chi, the one that you rolled with, and hold yourself there. Be good. Continue on. Or you can not have to mark chi, and you could remove yourself from the situation, essentially leave without telling Yin.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to step out.
Okay. Where would you go?
Well, if you're trying to look for a villain, sometimes you have to slum it a little bit. That's what I found.
Absolutely. And I think that is, in fact, where we see you head out, kind of mingle into the crowds. And as you head out there, you will see Zen, but you will also see a masked figure who is clearly pursuing him, like from rooftop to rooftop. Clearly not someone who means him any good if he is, going surreptitiously, moving from spot to spot. And it does look to you like maybe Zhen has maybe had a couple of drinks, and certainly is very clearly, going to be set upon by whoever this masked villain is. Maybe an agent of Crystal Willow. You don't know.
What has this youth gotten himself into now? I'm going to roll up my sleeves and leap up to the rooftops.
And that is the moment, Zemin, you've been moving along, following along. And Jen, you haven't had to try hard, right? Because this is an inexperienced Wulin warrior, correct? But it is the moment when this figure, who you will recognize as Master Nemo, lands on the rooftop and confronts you, Zemin. You are in your masked form. And what is the name of your masked identity?
The Night Heron.
Okay. So the Night Heron is confronted by Master Nemo.
I hold up my scabbard and my hand is on my blade and it's like shaking, trying to keep it within. See, but I don't look scared. I look like very focused.
I have no quarrel with you, old man. You have nothing worth stealing anyway.
Oh!
Well, I'm here for the protection of that young man whom you're chasing. He is a righteous young man who's done nothing wrong in his life. And if you do not stand back, I will be forced to release the 101 demons that I keep suppressed under my flesh. That will be a ruinous day for you indeed.
What a torment for those demons to be trapped under that old sallow flesh. But you have it all wrong. I too am a benevolent spirit of the night watching over this young man. Although perhaps he is not as innocent as you may think. Friends in low places.
Are you a servant of Crystal Willow?
I have no master.
And I think back to the magistrate's words on, like, who knows the mind of a thief?
Yes. No one knows. No one knows. So this is the thing is essentially it seems to me like maybe Zemin is trying to convince you that this isn't a fight, that he is on the up and up. Does that seem reasonable, Zemin?
Yeah. But by the way, one last thing.
Sure.
I don't fully understand the refresh rules, but if it's just that you spend a scene like doing something relaxing, could I have refreshed during the carousing scene earlier?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Just what do you want to clear there?
My fire condition.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, because you were kind of tagging along there as your young ward was drinking, and that seems to me to be a reasonable way to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So the hearts and minds to convince, and that allows you to kind of put an offer on the table for Master Nemo.
All right, so I guess I will roll with water for flexibility.
Okay.
And that is a 12.
That is a 12. So do you want to stand down, Master Nemo? If you do, you're going to get an XP.
Well, sure, but I'm just going to turn around and point my fury towards young Master Zhen for cavorting around with thieves.
Okay. Does that seem fair to you, Zemin?
Well, I kind of don't want him to do either thing, but I'm happy to watch this scene play out.
Because we can. There is a hard press that you could do now.
What is the hard press?
So heart to mind is sort of the general. Hey, I'd like you to do this. We do that. Now the harder press is an actual PvP. And when we go to actual PvP, you tell Michael what you will give him if he'll let you win, and let you do what you want. And Michael can offer you to mark chi on himself, or you can offer Michael to mark chi. You can offer experience points. You can offer narrative change, anything like that. Essentially, you put an offer on the table for the stakes. Now, you don't have to do it, but I just tell you that that's how that works.
Duels are pretty cool. Well, do you want to play it out a little bit and then see?
Yeah, let's do that.
So he does turn to maybe draw Zhen into the situation. What would you do, Zemin?
So I think I'll say, we can't hit that. Zhen's not in business.
Shit! What's this person is saying correct? Are you on some low mission, some low quest to steal?
Sorry. I'm not going to expose myself to Zhen in this herring farm. We're still on this rooftop. If you leap off, then
right.
I guess
so this is still the two of you conversing before we kind of push past.
Okay,
let's roll back a little bit here.
Oh, I see. Okay, so Zhen is still out of earshot, maybe down a couple rooftops, trying to gain distance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so just the two of
unaware of the current status of either of you up here.
So I guess I would kind of lower my sword a little bit and say, how exactly does a thief expect to guide a young person on a benevolent path?
I'm not guiding him, as you said yourself. I'm following him.
To what end?
To find a man called Number One Killer.
Wow. And I think back to like how I sort of left Jen alone to deal with this dangerous person, and didn't want to interfere. And I feel ashamed about that. So you would just let him face this killer alone, and you would stand in the shadows and watch?
We'll see what comes to it. But these poor students of Master Lay, she keeps them under her wing so long. They need to learn to fly.
You know much of this young man that you are following.
It is my business to know everything that happens in this city.
So you know of Master Lay. But do you know of Crystal Willow?
Crystal Willow. Surely she would not dare step foot here.
Well, is this not an auspicious event?
What game are you playing, old man?
So I'll make peace and put my sword away, you know. I am seeking to right the wrongs of the past, to blot out the dark stain known as Crystal Willow from the scrolls of history.
I see. And she has come here.
I suspect she may.
Out of character, Crystal Willow is her own faction, I assume.
Yeah, she is a noted villainess, sort of a legendary villain.
Well, Number One Killer and Crystal Willow. Truly an auspicious month. If you need assistance in dealing with this creature, if she has truly come here, you may count on my chains.
Perhaps you are more of an honorable person than I took you for, thief.
Well, let's not go too far.
I'm going to cut there for the moment, since we kind of come to a little bit of detente. Zen, you are headed for this temple, right?
Yep, straight to the temple.
Okay. And we will see suddenly it's dusk. Suddenly there's mist on the ground. We see this temple ruins with the scrub outside of it. The nameplate on the front is sort of crooked. We see a broken Buddha there. Someone has redressed the scene from any previous temple shots that we've had, and it's all done up. The cobwebs are there, and it is definitely, you'll hear the howl of the wind as you approach this empty temple as it's getting on dark. What do you want to do?
I will quietly observe the place and see if there's any recent activity that I can tell.
Move around, check the
Move
place.
around, look for if there's any smoke, check for noises or anything.
Let's have you
tracks.
Roll study.
All right. I will roll study with. I'll do, yeah. Water, right?
Okay.
Water, yeah. 11.
11. So you get 2 hold
Alright.
to ask questions or make a declaration.
Let's see here. I will first. Would I be able to learn the number one killer's scale if I'm not sure if they're there, or
Yeah,
would you?
we can.
Okay.
Essentially, we can have you thinking back on it.
Okay. Then I would do that first. Then I would want to know.
He is definitively above your scale.
Okay.
Definitively above your scale by a couple of degrees. You're going to, as you kind of are there and maybe sobering up a little bit, you begin to realize that you're here on your own, and if you meet him one-on-one, it's going to be bad for you.
Okay.
Only you had people here to help you.
Okay.
That weren't hiding in the mist.
How far back is Zemin from the action here?
I assume that Zemin and Master Nemo are kind of following at a little bit of a distance as this is going on.
Okay.
Do you want to?
I could spend a bond to appear where Zemin is.
Yeah, I mean that certainly seems fair.
And then move closer, but it might take a minute.
I mean they are within easy distance. They are not letting Zhen head off to be murdered in the distance. So
let's do that.
Okay. So what does that look like for you, Zemin, when Yin suddenly appears?
Well, how do you appear?
He's just there. Like maybe he was following you, or maybe he was following Master Nemo. You're not sure.
And does this mean that he knows that of my other identity, or like what is the?
Nope. He had intuitions, and he's arrived on scene by movie logic. And you will see that to tell Yin what he sees Master Nemo, and he sees a masked figure that you don't recognize.
Right.
I think I'm going to hide my surprise and pretend not to know.
Yeah, I think I just emerge from the mists or whatever with that absurdly large sword clanking as I make my approach, and then I look at Nemo and I look at this masked person. I'm here. I push past.
Sorry, locked up there a bit, David.
I look at Nemo and I look at this masked person that I don't recognize, but they're not the reason that I'm here, and I push past them.
So let me come back to Zhen. Zhen, you still have another hold.
Okay. Then I would like to know if the number one killer is there by themselves, or if there's any other people around.
There are definitely other people. Number one killer is here. You know that. You've seen the tracks. It goes into the temple, and there are more tracks than just one. So he's definitely here and not alone.
Okay.
Does that seem like a fair answer?
Yep, definitely.
And then out of the mists, you will see come Yin, who you've met before, who you know knows your master. Yin, what do you say?
This is a foolish place to be. Why have you come here, Zen?
It is not your position to tell me what to do. Someone that's let me loose. I am my own person now. I don't need anyone to tell me what to do. So I'm on a mission. Sorry. So I think it's better for you to bugger along.
I didn't come here to tell you what to do.
Then what is your intention?
And takes a very long time, but I draw the blade all the way out, and I balance it on my shoulder. Say, I'm here to see to it that you leave this place alive.
Ian, since the last time we saw each other, there's a lot that has happened to be able to make me the person I am right now, and I am confident of myself. And to say that I'm meaning that I don't need anyone to help me. And so, please let me go, and it's best for you to stay here.
Just resolutely, I cannot let you fall today.
Let me cut briefly in this sort of pause, that stare down there, back to Zemin and Master Nemo, who can certainly overhear this conversation.
I don't think I'm going to interfere. In fact, I might be inclined to go ahead and sneak into the hall
Okay.
and see if I can hear what is being planned.
All right, so we see you've kind of fade into the shadows and move off. Let me check what Nemo's doing, and then we'll look at a move on that. Nemo, your masked thiefly friend kind of begins to fade away, and you'll hear that conversation between Yin and Jen.
I'll walk up to them as well.
Okay. So you move up to, make a triangle of that. Zemin, let's have you roll overcome. And this is not to get in because you can get in. That's what you do. It is more to do it quietly. Does that seem fair? So what do you think, Zemin? What would you roll with? Sam?
I thought you were talking about. Sorry, every character's name starts with like Z or
I
Y.
know. I was just reading a pre-gen module that like half the characters' names all sound alike, and they start with the same initial consonant. And I'm like, why would you do that? So Zemin,
we're gonna roll with
yeah.
Metal control. Okay, that is a 10 or 11 actually.
So tell me what it looks like. How is it that you? What is the secret entrance? How is it that you slip in? What do we see on screen?
I think that as part of my like heron thing, I have maybe like these kind of like glider wings that I can pull out, and I kind of like dive from this like taller rooftop down onto the like pagoda style roof of this place, I have this move that lets me, or that all doors are as if they're open to me, all windows are if they're open to me. So there's just like some sealed window and up by the rafters that I like worm through.
You worm through those. you'll look around. You know, you can find where the marks are on the floor, where the altar moves away to reveal the walk down into the secret passage there, and you'll do that quietly. And we cut to another sound stage, and we see you up at the top of these stone stairs, kind of looking down into this large chamber. Torches. There are different kinds of tapestries on the wall with different poses and things like that, and the sigil of the Black Tiger Society. And you will see a figure in a red and black mask, in a dark clothing. You will see that there are a number of, as you know, as Zen described earlier, the white masked sort of acolytes. But you will also see two other people that are dressed similarly to the claw-bearing gentleman who attacked Yin in the alehouse, the third green bastard. This looks like the first and second green bastards. One of them has iron rings all along their arms, kind of running down like that. And the other one has a set of the wind and fire wheels. Essentially, there's a grip with this flat slicing circle, and on either hands, and they're standing, and they seem to be planning something, but they haven't heard you.
Are there other? This is a normal Black Tiger hideout, right?
No, this looks much more ornate to you.
Interesting. So this is just like a whole thing that's been going on under my nose.
Yeah.
I'm going to eavesdrop.
Okay, let's have you make a study roll. The consequences of failure are obvious and on the table.
Fair enough. I think it's just gonna be metal again.
Okay.
As I try and be as silent as possible. And this time I roll snake eyes.
And he will say, you hear him say, well, we have the opportunity to wipe out Yin and his family and take that blade. And then he kind of looks up at where you're at, and you'll hear something kind of slam down behind you. And our former allies who have assisted us, but their usefulness is at an end. I'm going to cut from you. Outside, there's kind of a moment there, Yin. You're appreciating that Zhen is kind of standing up for himself, but you've made a promise. Zhen, it's another person telling you what to do. You know, you're kind of standing, and then Master Nemo steps out from the shadows.
I'm so not telling you what to do.
And do you think Zhen's reading that way?
Just turned into a hormone monster.
Master Nemo, what do you say to them?
I bow deeply. I say, gentlemen. That's about it. That's all I have at the moment. My tongue is tied.
I look at Master Nemo, and Zhen says, look who decides to show up. You're running away again from your partner, leaving them in peril?
Once before, but not again.
Master Nemo, last time we saw each other, I was in peril and I needed your help, but I have soon discovered that I have all the power that I have in me to go about what I have to do. And for that, don't show your face around me ever again. And I kind of just like trying to like book it and hopefully just try to go run to the direction of the temple.
He will take off towards the
I'll take
temple.
off.
Unless I stop you.
He
with a
is.
duel.
Do you want to try and stop him? I mean,
I do. Yes, indeed.
okay. So here is the thing: is this sounds like a hard thing? Like we're going hard.
Right. Maybe I should obliquely say what I'm hoping
Sure.
to get from Jen.
Let's hear it.
I want to explain myself, and I want to maybe not seek your forgiveness, but at least have you allow me to accompany you and assist you to track down number one killer.
Everyone wants to do that, Jen, huh? It's like he's such a hot commodity.
Well, so it sounds like you are trying to convince him. You are doing a little more gently. So that is hearts and minds. You're going to give. That's going to provide Jen an incentive. You're not getting in his way. We're not fighting. Does that seem fair?
Sure.
Okay.
Please. Before you go, give me a chance to explain myself.
This is your only chance.
I better make it count with this roll. I'm thinking here. This is like a bit of humility.
Okay.
I'm thinking like wood, maybe.
That seems fair.
With that, it's a total of 10.
Okay. So, do you? I mean, he tells you what is the gist of what you're saying to Jen?
I had hoped that by allowing you to seek your own path and to forge your own destiny alone, that you would be all the stronger for it. But I think back on my own youth and the choices I made, and there are times when I wish I'd had someone older and wiser to take me down a different path. Things may not have gone as they had for me. And I have spent much time trying to make friends with many people and to avoid making enemies as much as possible. But in the Wulin world, I don't know if that's possible. I think of the great Yin and his father, the righteousness that they have shown, the benevolence, but even now, there are those who plot to destroy them.
What do you think, Jen? Do you willing to have him come with you?
I think Jen is such a angsty 16-year-old he felt like he's betrayed by Master Nema last time they were together, and then suddenly Zemin came into his life, this beautiful man, and he let him kind of just fully realize what he's capable of. I think I'm gonna have to not honor his demand.
Then I need you to mark Chi.
Okay. Do I get to pick which one?
Yeah, because this is a general one. You get to pick which Chi you want to mark here.
Okay. I think I'll mark my my water, because I feel that Zhen is kind of just like this, I don't know, desire, and it's clouding his judgment, and that affirmation from Zemin is really clouding him.
So Yin, you see Master Nemo goes and gives a heartfelt confession, speaks of his own weakness, and says, asks for forgiveness from Zhen, and Zhen turns his back on him and strides forward to head to the temple.
I should have become a hermit.
This demonstrates a fundamental difference between myself and Master Nemo.
Opposites attract.
And I pat him on the shoulder in consolation and follow.
Yin, hold a moment.
Like, got the sword on my shoulder, and I just kind of look back briefly.
You must understand. You know who that young man's master is. And if she is indeed Crystal Willow, as I suspect, if he goes down a path of fury and blood, he may not turn back.
I kind of give half a nod and face back and follow him in.
So we see Zhen followed by Yin, followed by Nemo, kind of heading on into this, and we cut back to you there at the top of those stairs with this essentially a barred gate that is dropped behind you, Zemin. What do you want to do?
Well,
Sorry, you're cutting out a little. There we go.
I'll say,
of course, the crucial moment is when you will drop. Take a drink. That and someone talking when they're muted is the other part of the Gauntlet drinking game.
I also like the phrase "proceeding apace." That's a bingo spot right there.
That's bingo. But like you only get that one if you're playing with Jason.
Okay.
Sam is back, but I don't think he knows he's back.
Yes. Sam?
Sam.
We'll give him a sec here. Apparently he's near some Ohio knitting mills.
Sure. Sorry. But I'm using it on my phone, which is now run on batteries because the internet here is so bad.
You are back, Sam. Thank you. I always forget to do that. I always forget the tools that are available for that. So let me describe the temple. What you three will see as you come in, as this is going on, and you will come in. It's clearly an abandoned temple. You will look and you will see the tracks. They're strategic spider webs everywhere, and you will look around and you will also see those marks that indicate a secret door, and Zhen, you'll be able to proceed forward to that. And what do you want to do? Do you just want to barge in, Jen, or are you applying any kind of caution to this?
I'm applying some caution, as best as I can, which is like probably from based on this experience, it's not that much, like be able to like, but I will. But at the end of the day, I feel like he's just kind of like barging in without that being his intention.
Okay.
So he's exposing himself definitely to danger.
Then as you are kind of at the top of that, you kind of push that open carefully, you will hear a slamming down of a gate somewhere ahead of you, like down these stairs. Something has tripped, and you hear this gate fall.
And then I stop in my tracks, and do I see anything when I look down below?
Torchlight, there's stone steps going down, and maybe you see the glint of like a portcullis, a barred door that has fallen.
Okay, then I'll grab one of the torches and kind of like trying to big a little around, and kind of like I'll toss it down the hall and see if anything happens, if they trip anything else.
Okay, and by this point, Yin, you and Nemo have made it simple. You're right behind Zhen, and Zhen, you will toss that torch down, and it will hit against this barred door, classic movie style, that has fallen across the stairs, and you can see the stairs go further down, and that this masked figure is in the lower chamber, and judging by his movements, he's engaged in combat.
And he's behind the door, or like the barge.
You have to lift this door somehow to get past it, or find some mechanism to get down there to help him. And currently, he is clearly overwhelmed.
Okay. I grip my staff and approach the barge and kind of like give him a stare down, and kind of like knock the barge, just like open it.
Well, so it's a barred door. You can see through it. Essentially, imagine like a jail door that's falling down. That across there's nobody there. It's kind of falling at the top of the stairs where you're at. So you'd have to lift that up to move down the stairs to get to where they are in the lower chamber.
And do they notice me? Though?
No, they are farther down.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, no, they're farther down in that room, fighting this masked man.
Okay, well, yeah, then I'll try to lift up that gate then.
Okay. Do you think that you can lift it yourself, or do you need your friends to help?
Oh, I think I can lift it myself, but I don't think that's the case.
Okay. Then let's have you roll overcome.
I'll roll with probably not wood. I'll roll with earth, because I'm like really focusing opening this barge.
Let's have you roll.
And I think I have all the strength in the world. The Jean things.
Yeah.
10.
10. So you two will see. You're like, there's no way he can lift that gate. And then you see clearly all of his sort of anger at being kind of pushed around, pushes him through, and he pulls and lifts the gate up, and throws it back up into place. And the gate locks up there. So let me tell you what you three will see then. Right now. Sam, you back?
That was an opportune time.
So what you three at the top of the stairs will see now that Zhen has amazingly thrown this barred gate open, you see this large chamber down below. There's a set of stone stairs that come down the side. If you've seen any Brothers film with an underground chamber, you've seen this chamber. There's a doorway out. There are these tapestries aside, and you can see that right now it looks like this masked figure has been swarmed. There are a group of acolytes in masks. There's a figure with a red and black mask who certainly Zhen and Nemo will recognize. And then there are these two figures who look like that gentleman that you killed in the tavern, Yin, armed with essentially the arm bracelets and then the wind and fire wheels. So here's what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with Zhen, have him tell me what to do, and then I'm going to come to the other two down the stairs, and then I'm going to come and see what Zemin is doing. So Zhen, you've thrown this open. What do you want to do?
After I threw it open, I kind of look back at both Master Nemo and Yin before just show them that I could do it. It's like kind of like rubbing on their face.
Okay.
As after that, I just would ran down and get my staff up and would then start. I don't know. It's okay. I'm wondering if Zhen would go for, you know what, because the Night Heron was the one that's been being attacked. I feel like Zhen is going to try to fight off those two goons first. Then.
Okay. So you will rush down. This is the same group of mooks that you defeated before, and we'll see you staff leap down into the middle of them. What are you doing, Yin? You see those two figures. They look like partners of the guy who you fought earlier. You'll see this guy in the red and black mask. It looks like Zhen is engaging the mooks. What do you want to do?
Does this seem like the kind of thing Zen might be able to handle on his own?
Yes. Those certainly they're below his scale. Okay,
then I will wait.
Okay.
See if anyone tries to engage with me, but
all right, you're at the top. So you're at the top of the stairs, kind of waiting, looking down on what's going on. Master Nemo, what do you do?
So I see Yin's hesitation. And I say, I left that young man alone before to disastrous results. I think that we should accompany him. And you're muted. Take that drink.
I look at you, and the boy seems to have made his desires clear. I'll step in if I have to, but not before then.
Well, his strength is certainly not something to underestimate, as we have seen him lift that gate, but in the wrong hands, that power could be ruinous.
I'm going to cut from you two. Over. There, Zemin, you tried to move to escape, got cut off, and ended up trying another way, and you got surrounded by these mooks. And then you heard Zhen throw open that gate, and he comes leaping down here to take them on and clear them. You can have the opportunity. You could try and get out of here. You could try and engage one of these other targets. What do you want to do?
I think I'm going to engage one of the other targets. I've been like sort of fighting defensively because I didn't really want to clear these mooks.
Okay.
Since that would just mean facing tougher guys. I was hoping that reinforcements would be coming, which they in fact have. So my choices are the two green bastards.
There are two green bastards, and there is the #1 killer.
And
Sorry, you cut out there.
We can't do anything about people who are higher scaled than us, right?
You can engage them, but then you roll, and we see you get to narrate how you lose if you roll well.
Got it. But there's nothing we can do to even the odds here.
Well, you'll need to probably clear other people away first. Right now, having those people with him, that makes your ability to kind of change up the situation, narrow the scale much more difficult.
Got it. All right. Well, I'm going to go in on the second green bastard.
Okay. So you will. So you leap over, and your weapon is again.
My weapon is a chain with blades on.
Okay. So we see you leap out of this group of mooks, chain out, and we see you come at the figure with the wind and fire wheel. Let's start with Zen. Zen, you are fighting a group of mooks. They are collectively below your scale. So go ahead and roll with your style element.
Okay, my element is good. Rolled an 8.
That is an 8. All right. So you defeat them, but it isn't particularly pretty because they fought you before. This is a little more of a challenge. They're anticipating the movements of your staff. But what is it that you do that gets past their defenses?
The last time I fought them, I was just deflecting their blows, but now Eugene is being more aggressive because there's just such momentum going into this battle, and so he's definitely doing more offenses and just kind of like trying to break their bones with the staff.
Yeah.
And
cracking, you're doing that more swinging strikes, in that they're not anticipating that, and you will send them flying. Zemin, the second green bastard, is a foe who is your scale. Gets the wind and fire wheels as you come up, and is trying to catch your chain with one of them to bring the other to cut across you. So go ahead and roll with your style element.
All right. That would be a 7.
That is a 7. So you get to choose. You can win at a cost, lose and mark XP, or deadlock with your opponent and reveal or learn something about them.
I'll prevail at a cost.
Okay. What do you think is appropriate here? Do you want to mark wound? Do you want to lose your weapon? Do we want to see you not look particularly honorable?
Sorry, are those two different things or the same thing?
Any one of those as a cost seems fair to me. What would you like?
Well, I'm not very honorable, so maybe.
So what's
maybe
the
this is where that comes out.
Do?
All right. So what's around us here?
So we've got like braziers, we've got tapestries, we've probably got an altar, probably a desk with books on it. They're probably weapon racks.
All right. We'll say that he catches my chain. He's bringing his little weapon up against me, and I like knock over a brazier and sort of I like use that to block his attack. But then I like sweep the ashes up into his eyes.
Oh,
to temporarily blind him. It's like a heel move.
Yeah.
And then when he like backs off and able to get the better of him,
Yeah.
run through.
And you get that sharp end that's on one part of your chain, right? It's got the blade, and it kind of comes up into your hand, and then in him, and his eyes will go wide. The other green bastard is moving over, and this number one killer flies across the room to engage with Zhen. So now let me ask you again, you two on the stairs. Anything you want to do?
I do have a move for this.
Okay.
It's called, it's for being a master. You're a paragon of calm and thoughtfulness. You understand when it is time to fight and when it is not. When you attempt to stop a conflict as it breaks out, roll.
I think we're already in a conflict here.
Okay. I didn't know if that would work after the move.
If that one is for before a fight breaks out, you can shut it down.
Okay. Have I convinced you, Yin, to join in this fight then?
Does it look like he can still handle this?
Do you want to make a study move to judge the scale of this foe?
Sure.
Okay, let's have you roll. What is your element for assessing this?
We'll go with Earth.
Okay, let's have you roll.
7.
7. And your question is if this foe's scale?
Yeah.
So number one killer can take on any one of you and defeat you. He is a deadly foe, and it will take your combined efforts to take down someone of his skill. There's no way any of you individually can take him.
Yeah, I'll intervene at this point.
So leap down to engage alongside Zhen. What do you want to do, Nemo?
I'll do the same.
Okay. Nemo and Zemin. We've still got this other green bastard there, and the three of them are engaged with number one killer. Is that something you want to get a piece of, or do you want to keep the green bastard back here?
I'll do the third green bastard.
Okay. So let's he is on your scale. So let's have you roll.
That is an 8.
That is an 8. So again, what's the cost that you pay to take him out?
I think our fight interferes with their fight.
Okay. So what do you think is going to happen there? I mean, what's the cost to you then?
Oh, the cost to me. Well, the cost to me is I was thinking that just the okay, not a fair cost to me to disrupt the fight with the other guy. Even
right.
though I do want him to be killed. We'll say take a wound.
Okay, so go ahead and you mark either your fighting style or mark wounded.
I will mark my fighting style.
So what happens? How is it that this guy with these iron arms manages to get and land a blow on you?
So I'm like harrying him. I'm like bleeding this guy out, and it's kind of like a mountain and the viper situation. Like I think I have him. Like I go in for the killing blow, and it is the killing blow. He just like reaches out and just like smashes my arm with his iron rings.
Yeah, brings it down hard, and you'll feel that crack as it kind of gives there, even as he's gurgling out. Zen, number one killer lands to face you. And then you'll hear the sound as the other two come in. Tell me, Yin, what is it you do to help Zen take this guy down? What do we see happening on screen? How are you drawing off this guy and reducing his scale?
This is for me?
Yeah. He's fighting with paired sabers. He's fast.
Yeah, I think Zen is like front and center, like fighting him, but just like over his shoulder, the long reach of this blade just comes in and interferes at opportune times. Like when he would otherwise get a blow in with his second sword, the long blade comes and blocks it.
Nice. Coming in, knocking those extra blows aside. He's having to deal with that. Master Nemo, how are you help lower this guy's scale so that Zen can take him on?
I think I'm just sort of offering like sage martial advice as he's like fighting, like, oh, watch the leg. Oh, the knee is his weak point, and like we see my words and like his eyes like responding to that. And
I imagine you rolling over and like pointing at certain places to strike, that kind of thing. Yeah. Zen, the two of them are drawing this guy off. He's pressing in on you. He's clearly wants to teach you the lesson that he should have taught you before. But now with their assistance, he is on your scale.
Okay. Well, Jen is kind of dense. And while they're fighting, I want to have that scene where when like I'm deflecting number one killer's like blows, and like me, Jen would be talking to it's like, I told you not to, like, help me. And then I was gonna, can I do the hopeful apprentice move? Or is that not applicable anymore?
I think because they're helping you, they're lowering the scale. But I mean, if you want to work that into the fiction, I'm fine with that.
Oh, okay. So here's my idea. So because I'm like annoyed that they're there and clearly helping me. I would want to push a number one killer farther to like create distance. So it's just me and him. So like they're not really helping anymore. Like their blows isn't as helpful as before. So yeah, I've created distance, just me and him, and I'm fighting him by myself again.
Okay. So when you fight someone who is above your scale, you don't immediately lose. So you can mark chi to keep him busy.
Okay. And then that means I'll mark my fire.
Okay.
Because I feel like it's finally taking a toll on me in terms of like it's tiring me, like fighting.
Yeah. So
one-on-one.
You three, Jin clearly pushes to get himself away from Yin and Nemo's assistance, and holds his own against number one killer, like shocking to all of you. But what is the blow that kind of hits you, Jen, that maybe makes you realize that this is not going to end well?
So last session, the way he got me was that blade to my throat.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm noticing him opening like opportunities where he would try to get that blade down my throat again, and it's getting harder and harder to like keep that from happening.
Okay. So you fall back. Maybe we see it like a strategic line of blood there, where he almost cut your throat.
Sure. Yeah, but
okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you're forced to fall back. Who takes primary lead then? Who's going to be the person who's going to lead, and who is going to assist with the scale?
Well, so he uses that move, and it allows us to perform other actions.
Yes.
When he does that, I think I take the scabbard for my sword, and I use it to vault myself up in the air so that I can come crashing down on him in the inevitable moment that this hopeful apprentice gets struck.
Okay. And so Nemo, Zemin, you see that Yin is going to go for the exposed. He's going to need help. Do you help Nemo?
Yes, I say to Yin, your potential is unsurpassed, but your innocence must be preserved. You may not have the killing blow this day. And I sort of like twirl, like I think I caught him when he sort of like was reeling back, and I kind of like twirl him away, and I am gonna like spin to go help out Yin.
Okay, so you move up to aid, but we need a third person to level that scale. Here is the question for you, Zemin. Do you help?
So where's Zen in all this?
So Zen got kind of cut and had to fall back to catch his breath. Nemo catches him and then moves in to help Yin.
Yeah. Okay. So I will help.
Okay. And what is it you do to draw off number one killer's defenses so that Yin can get that blow?
I jump on his back.
Okay. Suddenly you're on his back, and he shouts out with rage. That's not, what he was expecting. Okay. This is it, Yin. This foe is on your scale because your fellows have assisted you. Roll with your style element.
Sweet. Eight.
That is an 8. And you could burn both your bonds to win, amazingly.
I only have one bond left.
Oh, you already burned your Zemin bond, so yeah. So in that case, you can win at a cost, lose and mark XP, or deadlock.
So if I leveled up, is there anything that I could use that for in this situation? I haven't done it yet, but I've been sitting on that.
You could spend an advance to raise your fighting chi, and then burn your bond to get yourself to a 10.
If he deadlocked and like Zen or someone else took another crack at this, would the scale need to be undone again, or would the guy still be on our scale? We
would need people to continue to work and hold this scale.
Got it.
I'll just go ahead and level up that chi and burn the bond.
So what does that look like? What happens? We see Zemin has grabbed the back. Zen weakened Drew, exhausted him during that. Nemo's up, striking. What do we see?
I think I come crashing down just in the wrong spot, and my towering blade like sticks into the ground just behind him, because I moved it at just the last second because this unknown stranger has helped us, and the blow would have struck him otherwise. But as I land and like stick it on the ground behind him, and he's distracted, I start pummeling him with the scabbard of the weapon until he eventually manages to throw off the man who's on his back, and then I do a great spin and strike him in the midsection, and he slides back, and we just hear a slicing sound, and then a few more hits, and the slicing continues, and then a few more hits, and he falls, and he's cut on the other side of that sword.
And it is, I mean, he has to get Zemin off, or Zemin is going to kill him. So that draws him off when you do that first hit. And then Nemo's in there, and Zan's up there, and you get those hits, and finally he falls back and hits and slides and falls to the ground. And there'll be that sort of moment where everybody is fine, strategically has the strategic drops of sweat, the small cuts that look great on camera there, as you all kind of look at each other in that moment. And we're going to take up in the aftermath of that next time, because we are at time here. Let's quickly look at XP from entanglements here for end of session. Master Nemo, I think we hit both of yours, right? Would you say?
I think so.
So that's 4 points. Zemin, I think we got your highlighted one, but I don't think we had a chance to do the other one tonight. So that'll be 3 points. Yin, what do you think? Think we hit both of those?
I know we hit the unhighlighted one for sure. And like we kind of hit the second one.
I actually think we did, just because I thought that Zemin might not help you there. And I think that was a complication that is worth having there. So that seems fair.
Yeah, I should really have rolled in a conflict.
Yeah.
In respect.
We were in the middle of a fight. I didn't want to push you that far, but
and I have an explanation for why I did what I did.
Now he
all be revealed.
Yes. Zen, I think you hit both of yours, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, then that's 4 points. Start the next session. I'll check in and see what everybody, because next session will be the last one of this arc. I'll check in and see what you definitely want to make sure we get on screen. We'll check entanglements if any of those need to get revised or rewritten, and make choices on those at the beginning of the session. Does that seem cool?
Yeah.
Okay. And I'll try and make sure that next session, since I ran a little bit late, that we have some time at the end to do stars and wishes at the end of that, so we can talk about that. But thank you guys. I will say, seriously, Sam, I wasn't sure what you were going to do there, and that was pretty awesome. So a good session.
I did consider saying he's already gone.
Awesome. All right. Well, I'm gonna stop the broadcast.